Now I'd like to introduce a very special guest. That's right. Omari Salisbury is the co-founder of Converge Media. Raised in Seattle's Central District, he launched TV and radio stations across Africa and the Middle East, as well as East Africa's first totally digital marketing agency, and negotiated content deals for over 40 countries. In 2016, Omari returned to Seattle, launching Converge Media to uplift the stories of Seattle's Black community. Converge has built a loyal following for its Emmy award-winning coverage. Let me say that again. For its Emmy award-winning coverage and culturally relevant content about the Pacific Northwest. Omari has earned a reputation as an authentic and honest communicator with the trust and respect of his community and Seattle power brokers. Please join us in welcoming Omari.
I've been poor, but it really don't matter no more. And they wonder why we act this way. Solid ground's gonna be okay, okay. All right now, where you at? Thank you, Shalimar. Thank you, Solid Ground. Yeah, and she wasn't lying. When, in the beginning, she was like, man, y'all look beautiful. You can't see yourself, but I can see. Y'all look good out there, y'all. Give yourself a hand. I'm a movie. My thing was too thick to put in the binder, so I got to. Let me put this right here. All right. So, first of all, good evening. Thank you. First and foremost, thank you to Solid Ground. This was not an easy journey to get me here tonight, but as many of you know in the audience already, that Shalimar and the team from Solid Ground, they can be persistent in getting their way. Now, some might not know this, but this is my very first keynote address. Yeah. So I want y'all to bear with me tonight. I've given acceptance speeches and things like that, but as far as addressing an audience outside of classrooms and small gatherings this big, this is new to me. Now, don't get me wrong, your boy ain't chopped liver. You know what I'm saying? In fact, over the years, I've got countless requests to come and speak all across America and even overseas. But up until now, and in this moment, I've turned them all down. So why, you ask? They're looking at me at the table over there. They're like, damn, why you? Well, first of all, I did not want to be a keynote speaker at an event where me or my colleagues from Converge Media were not a firm believer in their cause. So my journey here tonight, I spent months back and forth with Mike Buchanan and the team at Solid Ground, understanding their mission, their people, their purpose, and the impact they make on community. And I realized that their mission is noble, their people are committed, and very much like us at Converge, their uplift is real. Now, secondly, and perhaps most importantly, the reason I've never ventured into the space of giving speeches is that I just got a lot on my heart, y'all. I feel deeply. My empathy is on 10. I got a lot of emotion in my soul. And I only know how to be me. I'm not good at reeling it back, depending upon the audience. You know what I'm saying? I'm kind of just a 0 or 100 person, which is why I hardly do interviews or public appearances at all. And at times, I just isolate in our Black Media Matters studio, which has been a refuge for me. And speaking with Mike about tonight, I said the only way that I'd be down to come and address such a large audience is that if he could guarantee me that all of you here tonight believed in giving, were rooted in respect, have a compulsion for compassion, believe in collaboration, and admiration for accountability, we're deeply invested in integrity, we're fighters for social justice, and most importantly, that all of you had big hearts full of compassion. Mike said, and Mike relentless too. I don't know where he's at right now, but man, Nani and Lonnie will tell you, them solid ground people, they're relentless. Mike told me, he said, Big O, this is solid ground here tonight. All of our people in the building are all of that and more. So give yourself a hand for being true believers in solid ground's values. Now I asked Mike, this is my first keynote. I'm like, bruh, well, what am I supposed to say at the keynote? He said, you guys got some talking points for me? He said, Omari, people will just be happy to hear from you. Many of them for the first time. Just say what's on your heart. So that being said, this evening I'll venture to do something I've never done before with an audience this big and so many faces that are new. I'll make myself vulnerable to you to speak from my heart to yours with the hopes that we as a collective community will leave this building tonight energized and recommitted to the cause of fighting and defeating poverty. Now, before we get going tonight, I thought I'd take a moment and recognize a few people in attendance, and also by doing so, it'll tell you a little bit about my upbringing, like how they end up like this. Give you some insight. Yeah, I'm looking at you, Mom. First and foremost, my mama is here. Hey, Mom. If you don't know, my mom is Reverend Harriet Walden, the founder of Mothers for Police Accountability. That's my mama. And now you heard it saying, they get it from their mama. You see what I'm saying? I got it from my mama, y'all. I'm going to tell you. You know, we grew up poor in Seattle Central District. But let me tell you something. It wasn't until I got to college and I heard how other kids grew up that I even knew I was poor. I remember my freshman year in college calling my mama in near disbelief. Ma, we was poor? She conceded, but she said, it was more like we were broke because we never had a poverty consciousness or state of mind. That we did not always have what we wanted, but we always had what we needed. Mama instilled us with the values that money cannot buy. She always said there's never a wrong time to do what's right or a right time to do what's wrong. She instilled honor, commitment, and respect. It's Mama who said, how you do anything is how you do everything. Mom was so innovative at the time, and I ain't had no idea. I was a little kid. So I thought everybody had a recycled Christmas. Y'all know what that is? It's Seattle. It's lots of recyclers here, right? Recycled Christmas. Now, that's when you find something that's already in the house and wrap it up and then give it as a Christmas gift. So, for example, on Christmas morning, no one can find the toaster because I wrapped it up the night before, put it under the Christmas tree. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to give it to my brother. And I know looking back on it, it's hilarious. But at the time, my mom knew what mattered most. And it wasn't the gift itself, but rather the very act of giving. And let me tell you that I'm a firm believer in giving to this day, knowing that giving does not have to be money or a gift. It can be time. It can be access. It can be opportunities. It can be understanding. It can be a listening ear. It can be an open heart. It can be sharing your God-given talents. Thank you for instilling the spirit of giving in me, Mom. My mom worked tirelessly to shelter us from the realities of poverty in the Central District. She found ways to keep us in all the same programs that other kids participated in by writing letters, requesting scholarships, and working so many extra jobs. I went to some of the best summer camps, went skiing every winter, went on every field trip. It was in every youth program, from aviation to community service. Mama was and still is a tireless community activist and organizer. And when young O would be right there, young O would be right there with her, attending community meetings in rooms with giants like Cal Anderson and George Fleming. I'm comfortable today at City Hall, and you know I'll be down there scowling at them. I'm comfortable today at City Hall because over 30 years ago, my mom started going to city council meetings, and she just ain't stopped. Bet you was there yesterday, huh? It's kind of crazy that I ended up on TV, right? Because I remember as a kid when Mama literally threw the TV outside one day. She said she wasn't raising no fantasy sons of Walt Disney. She instead invested in encyclopedias and books, and more books. Real talk, I was the only kid in the neighborhood that was doing book reports in the summer. I didn't realize it at the time, but Mama was preparing me for this world that I would one day walk into. She would say, son, when you get out there to the world, you need to know the white kids will get 10 points for showing up. So you have to be 10 times better than them just to be seen as equal. It's real facts, Mom. I think one of the most impactful and lasting things that my mom did, amongst many, was that she got me a subscription to National Geographic when I was a young boy. She told me, son, there's a whole world out there beyond the confines of the Central District. And that although at the time I could only see it through the magazine, that one day I would kick the dust of the CD off my feet and I'd see the world. I remember she would wake me up in the mornings by saying, Dr. Salisbury, they're calling you over in Africa. Well, Mama, I've now visited, worked, or lived in over 60 countries around the world, with so many of them being on that continent of Africa. The amazing spaces and places and journey of this life that I have been fortunate to live has been incredible. Thank you, Mom, for dreaming bigger than me, or dreaming bigger than I could have ever dreamed of myself at the time. Your vision, your sacrifice, your tough love. I could never repay, Mom, and I can only hope to continue to work hard daily to make you proud. The majority of my career, I was always the guy behind the scenes. I was never on the camera, probably because, unlike Basa Gordon and Deontay Damper, I had a face for radio. And that's where I felt most comfortable, behind the scenes, uplifting others. When I returned home for good in 2016, as my son was starting school at, man, it pains me to say this, starting school at O'Day. I don't know where I went wrong with that boy. I just knew with my literal world of experience that I'd have no problem coming back home to my hometown and finding a job, and this vision that I had to converge that was sparked in East Africa would be a hobby that I would just build up over time. I mean, like an impressive resume. Let me tell you, when I returned back home to the Emerald City, not only could I not get a job, I couldn't even get an interview. You know, I should have called Solid Ground. They might have found something for me. Ultimately, I decided to bet on myself and drove Uber and Lyft, sold beer and peanuts at the Mariners games, and took odd jobs to save money. The Converge you know today started as a blog in 2016. And me and Eric over there, we struggled just to pay the hosting fees. Fast forward to 2020. By then, Converge was growing in the Central District. We had a studio inside a Black Dot in Africa Town on South Jackson Street, where me and Eric Calligraphy recorded podcasts and wrote articles. In March of that year, everything changed as alongside Eric, Treyana Holiday, Daryl Glover, Carlos Imani, G. Prez Aspie, we launched the Morning Update show in response to the COVID lockdown. And all of a sudden, I was front and center on camera. We knew that our people in our community needed curated, culturally relevant, real-time information. Now, you might remember, man, they was on the news talking about, like, here's the grocery stores for our elders or seniors to go, and here's the hours. Well, never nothing in our grocery stores, though. You know what I'm saying? That's just an example of, like, the information was out there, but it wasn't curated for us. And so we was just like, yo, we finna take it on air. And that's how the Morning Update show launched. At the time, we thought the Morning Update show would just be a pop-up for maybe a month once COVID blew over. You know, the president at the time was like, oh, yeah, this thing could be over in a month. Right. Little did we know, COVID was just getting started, and the murder of George Floyd would soon rock this nation. Now, I know that many of you here tonight first became aware of me and Converge during the Seattle protests of 2020. I want to tell you tonight that the trauma we experienced nearly 4 years ago is still very real, and so is the PTSD. It's still hard to talk about those days in a real way without becoming emotional. Because of this, I never really speak about the protests these days. The images in my mind are still all too real and vivid, and so are the injuries to my body that I still live with to this day. When Solid Ground approached me to speak tonight, I told them I would not be speaking about the protests at all. However, as this night drew closer, I had a change of heart. And as opposed to seeing this as a potential moment of pain, tonight with you, my Solid Ground family, I see this moment right here, right now, to give thanks. Now, that being said, can I have a few minutes of your time to talk to you about the protests? So, to say that covering the protests was a lot is an understatement. We went out there, just real deal. We just went out there to keep our neighborhood, like the Central District, informed. Little did we know that at times the whole world was watching, including many of you in this room tonight. We were in no way prepared for the unprecedented police violence that we, the media, endured during the Seattle protests, which included tear gas, chemical weapons, flashbang grenades, rubber bullets, clubs, and more. So many of you saw us out there absent of gas masks, goggles, gloves, and you gave. And your giving didn't stop there. During the Seattle protests, I witnessed the very best in humanity and also the worst, including the murder of Lorenzo Anderson Jr., Antonio Mays Jr., and I was on the freeway just a few blocks from here on I-5 speaking with the evening marchers when a driver came onto a closed ramp and barreled into the protesters just a few feet in front of me, killing Summer Taylor and critically injuring Diaz Love. I want y'all to know tonight that Converge Media could be much bigger today. At the height of the protests and after, we had outlets from all over the world, ranging from Fox News on one side and MSNBC on the other, all wanting our footage. But we never gave it up because our goal was not fame. It was to heal our city. And we knew once we released our footage, the narrative was then in the hands of the beholder. Our coverage of the Seattle protests ultimately earned us an Emmy. I want you to know that we accepted that prestigious award on behalf of the thousands of people who took to the streets of Seattle, including some of you in this building tonight, who let the world know that they valued black lives, and those of you who allowed us the opportunity to tell your stories. For us, that Emmy don't belong to Converge. It belongs to you, the people. I want you to know that I never wanted a spotlight, never seeked any fame or attention. Perhaps I was just the right person at the right time, which is why, although I could have easily climbed the media landscape after the protests, we've seen a lot of people do that, and by now been a national talking head, I instead went back to our original mission of serving our community. And after 2 years of the Morning Update show, we retired it in June of 2022 so I could exit stage left and go back to what I'm really good at, uplifting others. So, I'm going to stop here. As I said, it's a lot of emotion around the protests, and not even just me. I look over here at our table, and I see so many people who went through it with us. And I look across this room here, and I see so many familiar faces. But before I do, if I never told you thank you, let me tell you now, loud and clear, thank you, Seattle, for coming to the aid of a small media company from the Central District, struggling to show the world what was going on. Most of you never heard of Converge Media before, but you came to our rescue. You believed in our coverage and supported our mission. And I'm ever grateful and thankful to you all. Thank you. I'm going to tell y'all, we was at please have a seat. We was at Mohai, and we was, Enrique Cerna was sitting there, and he was interviewing me. And they kept using the word hero. And I was like, I said, nah, bruh. I said, the real heroes is the good people of the city of Seattle who showed up, who it wasn't just a sign. By the way, how many of y'all neighbors done removed them Black Lives Matter signs now after these years? It wasn't just a sign. Y'all showed up. And no matter whatever kind of revisionist history that you see going on right now, and this is real time what you see, you know what? Converge got the receipts. So these people can be on Twitter and they can lie and they can say, oh, it was this, it was that. We got the receipts. You know what I'm saying? And in those receipts, it shows the real heart of our city and the character of this city. Black folk make up maybe 7%. When it went down, everybody showed up. Y'all showed up, man. Seattle's special. And so it's like, if there's some heroes, it's them people, you guys, who made your presence felt whether it was in the streets or whether it was your legislator, you know what I'm saying, whether it's just helping someone, like, y'all incredible. Now, Mama always says, you can't leave people in an affected state. So now I got, like, what they say, lighten the mood, right? You won't believe how many late nights, literally, we spend in the office all debating what will the next story be that will leave our community members feeling uplifted, feeling affirmed. We have the coolest job ever. It is literally to make black folks feel special and welcome and to give them positive representation of themselves daily. Like, this is amazing. Our stated mission at Converge Media is to be a world leader in uplifting black stories and people from across the Pacific Northwest via video and film. And because of the amazing team of people at Converge Media, we're able to meet and exceed that expectations of our community. But far too often we hear middle-class values, a value set that is magically bestowed upon someone when they reach a certain income level. Values that somehow many of these very people did not possess during their journey to middle class from, say, minimum wage. I don't know. First and foremost, let me tell you that the implications that the poorest among us are devoid of values and value is preposterous. It's almost like no one realizes so many of the middle class and beyond today come from families that were poor a generation ago. It was those poor folk values, like the same ones my mom passed on: hard work, commitment, dedication, sacrifice, and perhaps most importantly, dreaming of better days for generations yet to come. Those values trickled up, by the way. Don't get it twisted. And with so many of us out there who are excited and want to participate in society to the fullest, but we don't even have the cleats, let alone the boots, to pull ourselves up by. Sometimes it's that one fundamental act of providing tools to those amongst us most in need that allows them to fully play on this playing field of life. This is the fundamental work of Solid Ground. For 50 years now, changing lives, providing the fundamental tools, those boots with the straps, by the way, for those most in need. 50 years ago, community members came together to provide food to the hungry, clothes to the cold, and access to opportunities for work. And half a century later, the work of Solid Ground continues on so many levels: housing, education, transportation. What a massive impact upon our community. So you see, not everyone has a mama like mine, or a teacher like Barbara Nilsson, or neighbors like the Burrells, who shelter us from the blows of poverty and lack of opportunity, while concurrently preparing us with all the tools to go out into this world. Y'all, I'll be honest with you, I was blessed. Others of us, for one reason or another, had our world turned upside down. The blows of life have knocked us down, and solid ground is there, not with a hand out, not with a hand up, but with a hand extended, holding that all-important tool belt to help those most in need with the tools required to not only get up again, but to thrive in their purpose. I'm here tonight to tell you that poverty is not a crime, and we need to stop acting like it is and acknowledge that even the poorest among us have value, not only in our society, but also in the eyes of God. The real crime is that poverty can be defeated, but as a country, we do not have the willingness to do so. It is politically expedient to keep poor people poor and then keep them divided. I'm here to tell you that we're not falling for that trap. The okey doke, the banana in the tailpipe. We're calling out all the parasitic politicians, the poverty pushers, the pain pimps for who they are. The least among us deserve dignity and respect. And I'll be honest with you, that the political points, for political points, poor people right here in this city are villainized. And that's going to stop. You see, we got, we got to ramp up. It's political season right now, and that's just, you know what I'm saying. I already know how that goes. It's political season right now, and I'm putting everybody on notice. In defense of the most marginalized amongst us, I promise you, tonight, I'm ready. I'm ready. And when I say I'm ready, it's been years since I've really been out there on the street in the fight. I sit in the studio, y'all, for my own best reasons. But there's no better fight to join than the fight to end poverty. You see, now this is where I'm off script now. I didn't talk about my dad much tonight, rest in peace, but my daddy was a preacher. If you can't tell. I might have got that from him. Even mama shaking her head like, yeah. I want to tell you this, that we talk at Converge all the time. How can we make more impact? What can we do? How can we make more of a difference? And it's a challenge because, most days we doing everything we can, but we still know that we need to challenge ourselves to do more. And being here tonight amongst all of y'all, and being here tonight amongst this solid ground family, I want to tell you tonight that I'm ready. I walked in this room, I told you it was the first time me speaking in public like this. I told you that studio's a safe space for me. I'm inspired by the work of Solid Ground. I'm inspired by what you do. And I want to tell you this, Shalimar. Matter of fact, can all my Converge people stand up, please, if you're able? Let me tell you this, that if you're willing to have us, we're ready. We're ready to partner with you, hand in hand, with Solid Ground on this fight to end poverty. Is that okay with you? Thank you. That's the thing is, all the people who hate poor people, they got like lots of media. See what I'm saying? So the people who have a heart and love those most marginalized in our city and our community, I think they need their own media too. I think that they need an uplift. And that's something very special that we know how to do at Converge. So I want you to know, Shalimar, and everybody at Solid Ground and everybody in this room tonight, that tonight Converge Media is rededicating itself to the cause, hand in hand with Solid Ground, in fighting poverty in our city. Thank you, and God bless you.